What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the second episode of the Salty Sports Podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed the first one, but this week we have another. It's going to be super fun, super awesome, mostly football stuff. So we're going to jump right into that and get started with a recap of last week's games. Let's go to Elkin. You'll briefly go over those and maybe make a few comments.
Yeah.
Comments.
Starting off with moving the chains. All right.
right.
So for the first game of the week, we had New Orleans. There were no Thursday games, so we had New Orleans at Atlanta. New Orleans won 21-16, and we both picked New Orleans.
Yeah. Taysom Hill showed up and threw some touchdown passes. That's pretty much anything noteworthy from that game was that.
Yeah, he's being more consistent, so you can really put the team up there. Next, we had Detroit at Chicago. Detroit won 34-30. Matthew Stafford threw for 402 yards.
Yeah, so I was a little bit surprised by that. I think we both picked Chicago.
Yeah.
But it looks like at this point Chicago has really been regressing. I think they definitely need to be done with Matt Nagy as a head coach. He's just proven that he isn't at the level.
He needs to be a defensive coordinator, not a head coach.
Yeah, definitely. Their offense just can't get things going. So
yeah, we both picked Chicago, but wasn't too confident on that. Next game we have Cleveland at Tennessee. All right, so we're going to go in a bit more detail on this. Why don't you lead us off? Score was 41-25 Cleveland.
Yeah, this one kind of shocked me a bit. I thought Tennessee was going to dominate. I personally have been thinking that this entire season, Cleveland is a pretender. They faced a lot of easy teams and gotten those easy wins. But it turns out, no, they really showed up against a great Tennessee team. They played very well in both halves. Their defense was completely shut down in the first half. Tennessee's offense couldn't get anything started.
Yeah, let me tell you here. It was 17-7 in the first early second quarter, and the first half ended 38-7.
They dominated.
Right. Yeah.
Definitely.
Tennessee,
but yeah,
however, I still think they're a good team. Yeah. Ryan Tannehill
threw for 400 yards. 4 touchdowns in first half.
Yeah, Ryan Tannehill threw for 400 yards, and Nick Chubb only ran for 80. So if you look at the box score, Tennessee looks like they did, I guess, better. But reality was it was not even a close game. And
Henry only got 60 yards on 15 carries, though, which is not great for what's been expected out of him. So
yeah, we both had chosen. We both chose Tennessee.
Yeah. I really thought Cleveland was a pretender, but now I'm sold that they're a legitimate contender. Probably not Super Bowl wise, but they could definitely do something in the playoffs, and I'm excited to see.
I still think Tennessee is better, more well-rounded than Cleveland. They did not show up. However, Ryan Tannehill, 400 yards, pretty good. Next game we had Cincinnati at Miami. Miami won 19-7. Tua Tagovailoa threw 300 yards and pretty much a noteworthy thing about it.
Yeah, there's nothing really noteworthy, but that was kind of just how we predicted it would be.
Yeah, we both went for Miami pretty heavily. Miami's a good team. Tua played pretty well. Next game we're gonna go for Las Vegas at the New York Jets, 31-28. I'm gonna go on this. All right, let me. All right.
Okay.
Uninterrupted 30 seconds. It's a debate. That doesn't mean you get to. But so as we all know, the Jets, they blitz 6 with, I think, 14 seconds remaining. And you have a guy named Henry Ruggs who ran a 4.26 40-yard dash, I think. Or 4.26, I think. And you blitz 6 guys on the last play of the game, essentially.
And then their third string
it wasn't even close.
Guarding.
I think it was an intentional tank. They fired their defensive coordinator. However, I think that the defensive coordinator was trying to lose the game intentionally because it's quite obvious they're trying to tank at this point.
Right. I'm not sure.
Tanking is okay. However, intentionally losing is not. This game, I felt like their defensive coordinator intentionally threw the game, and the Jets management fired him because of that.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to lose, they at least need to be good at losing.
Yeah, I think – I think they have not been trying to win games per se, but I think that I was just really surprised
Yeah,
and glad
yeah.
when I
Derek
saw that.
Carr, 400 yards. Darren Waller, 200 yards receiving. So
Mhm.
pretty good game
I
from
was
them.
just really, as like a Raiders semi fan
Yeah, we both
myself,
went with Las.
right? You're a little. It looks like you're frozen, but I'll keep talking. I was really, really scared for a while that the Raiders wouldn't be able to do anything. You were frozen for a minute.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Sorry.
I was.
Jacksonville at Minnesota.
Wait,
Minnesota won
let me
27.
finish on this.
All right, all right.
I was really scared that the Raiders were actually going to lose to the Jets. So I was just really happy when I saw that final, not the final play, but when he threw that touchdown when Carr threw it, Rex caught it. I thought that was just. I'm not sure if the Jets were intentionally trying to lose or do something, but it was
Yeah,
just a
what was the
really
last thing you heard me say?
horrendous play call. I'm not sure. You were starting to move on to the next game, but I think it's all right.
Yeah, Jacksonville at Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minnesota won 27-24 in overtime. Kirk Cousins 300 yards. Dalvin Cook 120 yards rushing. Justin Jefferson 120 yards receiving. Uh, any thoughts?
Um, Cook definitely has a shot at Ohoy, and Jefferson has a shot at Oroy. Um, they've both been outstanding,
Oh,
and
wait. Who'd
I
you
thought this
say has a
game
shot at O'Roy? Justin Jefferson and
Justin Jefferson for Oroy and Cook for Opoy.
all right, all right, all right, all right.
But I think
Don't speak like that. But yeah, Dalvin
yeah, well
Cook,
yeah.
he's been
Um,
good. He is. I think he's the most valuable player in the league. Not necessarily to win the award. I just
right,
think
but
he's the
the
most
most
valuable
valuable
player.
player to his team.
Technically, the
Um,
most valuable player award is not given to the most valuable player. It's
mhm,
given to, I guess,
the best.
the best, pretty much.
Yeah.
Best quarterback.
But yeah, I thought this game was a lot closer than I would have thought it'd been. But I think what Jacksonville has proven is that through all of these games that they've played against teams that are definitely a lot better, is that they aren't an easy win. They might not be a good team. Their record definitely shows that, but they aren't an easy team to get by. And I think if they build up their offense a lot more, they might actually be able to go somewhere in a few years.
Yeah,
They're not.
I think that they got to focus more on the. I guess they're playing in the division with the Texans, the Colts, and the
Titans.
Titans. Right.
Mhm.
So
Definitely not
they're
an
playing a
easy
lot of
division.
games against those teams. A lot of those teams have very mobile, multiple way things. You have Deshaun Watson, like Derrick Henry. They have to, I think, focus a lot more on the defense than the offense at this point because they're playing against these teams 6 times, right? Yeah, but
Yeah, but
I think I'm gonna move on to the. Yeah, we both went for what was it? We both went for Minnesota. Next game
yeah,
is Indianapolis at Houston. This game was really close game. Came down to the last play when Deshaun Watson fumbled on the goal line. 26-10 Indianapolis. Uh,
I
Philip
I
Rivers,
kind
300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Deshaun Watson, 340 yards, and interception. And yeah,
yeah, I kind of said I think last week is that Indianapolis is definitely a stronger team, and I thought they were going to win, as I think both of us
yeah,
predicted.
we both chose
But Houston
Indianapolis.
definitely put up a fight. Houston is not a bad
It
team.
was last
They've
play,
got
last
a
play.
great quarterback.
Yeah, last play. Deshaun Watson fumbled. But
Yeah. Other than
yeah,
that, though, they played a
it
really
was a really
strong
close game.
game.
We both went with Indianapolis. I'm going to move on to the next one, which is Los Angeles at Arizona. Take it away. Actually, stats first. Jared Goff, 350 yards. Let me get the box score up. Yeah, Jared Goff, 350 yards, 1 touchdown. Kyler Murray, 170 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. And yeah, that's the most
Yeah, nothing much else notable.
Take it away.
I was actually a little surprised because in our last episode I said I thought Arizona was going to win. In our like pick like tournament thing, I picked Los Angeles actually, but I'm glad I did. Los Angeles really they played very well in this game. They were just overall dominant. Even though the
Yeah, Daniel,
score,
just a quick thing. We're pretty far in, so we're going to try to move a little bit quicker
yeah,
through the
yeah,
last few and then to our
yeah.
pick.
Even though the score was like a 10-point difference, just watching it, the Rams really dominated. Their defense showed up and played, and made stops when they needed to, and their offense was just able to get through Arizona very well. I think that they're definitely back to that 2018 form that we saw where that took them to the Super
Yeah.
Bowl or
We're gonna
something
move on
similar.
to
They can definitely do something in the playoffs, but
yeah, we're gonna move on a bit actually because we don't have much time. But We have lost New York at Seattle. New York won 17-12. There was a safety in the first half.
I want to say something
Russell
real quick.
Wilson, 260 yards. Wayne Gallman ran for 130.
I want to say something real quick. Is last week I said I was pretty confident in Seattle, but this is the game. This is the game to look for an upset, and it ended up being that. I honestly am not terribly surprised looking at Seattle's defense, but it's just kind of disappointing with all the talent and abilities they have to see them playing so poorly. And I think the Giants they're a contender in any way whatsoever, but I think they might be able to make some noise in the playoffs. Maybe give a team
The
a
last,
first
the
round.
last two teams that went into the playoffs under 500, they both won a playoff game.
Yeah, I think they can definitely make some noise.
Seattle in 2011, and then the 2014 Panthers. They both won a wild card game, so
They
look
can
out for
definitely
that.
make some noise.
And then moving on to Philadelphia at Green Bay. Green Bay won 30-16. Aaron Rodgers 300 yards. Aaron Jones 130. Devontae Adams 120 yards. Carson Wentz got benched. I think beginning of fourth quarter, maybe late third quarter. It was a closer game than the box score, but also kind of like it. There was a punt return for a touchdown, first one since 2014 by Jalen Reagor, 70 yards, and then I think the next drive there was a 70-yard rush by Aaron Jones to close out the game. But Jalen Hurts played well. He had an interception that was he got hit while throwing. Other than that, though, he's playing well and it's his time.
I think he's definitely going somewhere. Patriots, Chargers, not much to say. Looks like you're frozen. But,
the most passing yard was 200.
Yeah, you froze for a minute, but
what was the last thing you heard?
You something about 200 passing yards from I think Herbert. You said.
So that wasn't that long ago. Yeah.
Yeah, Patriots.
200 passing yards. He had the most. It was 45-0 Patriots. So let me get box scores.
The Chargers special teams are what kills them.
Justin Herbert. Yes, so Cam Newton, he had 69 yards throwing and 1 touchdown throwing.
Nice.
Justin Herbert had 209 yards, 2 interceptions. It was actually special teams that took the story here for the Patriots. I think scoring 3 special teams touchdowns.
So my one comment on that, is Chargers' downfall is their special teams. They cannot win games with special teams. The Patriots never count out a Bill Belichick team. As crappy as the start of the season was for them, they're showing up now, and they can possibly sneak into a playoff spot.
I want to go back to some of the games that we didn't say. You went for the Rams, I went for the Cardinals, and we both went for Seattle, and then we both went for Green Bay. Mm-hmm. And then here, I went for the Chargers, and you went for New England. Cam Newton had a 1-yard run. There was a punt return for the Patriots. Sorry, Cam Newton actually had 2 rushing touchdowns. They had a punt return touchdown for the Patriots, and then there was a 44-yard return of a blocked field goal for a touchdown. Then we had Jarrett Stidham actually threw a 38-yard pass for a touchdown. I think it was a fake there. But yeah, that's pretty much the stat lines. We're going to move on to the next game, which is Denver at Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes 318 yards, Melvin Gordon 130 yards, Travis Kelce 130 yards. And then we had
obviously
Tyreek Hill lose 150 yards passing and 2 touchdowns from bad calls and bad calls.
Yeah, obviously, I think Kansas City is a great team, and they're definitely going back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but so Tyreek Hill, I don't think you'll be allowed to play the clip, but he essentially threw the deep ball in the end zone. It hit his arm. He rolled over. The defender was on top of him. It hit the defender's arm, and he trapped it against his body. It was a touchdown. However, he did not know that, and then the Chiefs punted. So he lost a 50-yard touchdown there. And then later in the game, there was a bogus holding call that cost him a 50-yard touchdown. So
the fantasy owners
70 yards receiving. You would have had 150 and I think 2 or 3 touchdowns. We both went for Kansas City, and we're going to move on to the Monday games. We're going to do Buffalo at San Francisco first. Take it away.
Okay. So Buffalo won 34-24. Allen put up 375 yards, 4 touchdowns. Mullins actually put up 315 yards, 3 touchdowns, but also 2 interceptions. Beasley on Buffalo caught 130 yards and 1 touchdown. Ayuk caught for about 100 yards and 1 touchdown. So both teams kind of showed up on offense, but Mullins is
The game wasn't as close.
Obviously,
The game wasn't as close as the box score shows, but it was. Then again, it also was a bit more competitive than the score.
The final score showed. Yeah. Mullins put up some good stats except for the interceptions, which really goes to show that all he is a backup quarterback. And I think once Jimmy Garoppolo gets back, that'll definitely boost the Niners. I think at this point it's safe to say that the Niners won't really go anywhere, even if they somehow manage to win a few of their next games.
I think it's also safe to say that the best division is actually now the AFC North.
Mm-hmm.
Since the Cardinals have fallen off, the Seattle's seen weakness. Rams have gone up a bit, but then you guys also. So I think it's the AFC North.
Yeah. The AFC North is definitely better at this point. And Buffalo
we both went
really
for Buffalo.
strong.
I think we both went for Buffalo here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Buffalo is really strong now. They'll definitely.
They cannot stop Hail Mary, though. They gave up 3 Hail Marys in 2 weeks. 2 against the Chargers, one of which was called back, and then the 2 of the Chargers, one was called back, and then the one against Arizona. So, let me go to so then we had Washington at Pittsburgh. Off camera, I had called that I thought Washington was actually going to win this game because if we look at Pittsburgh's run essentially to
you cut off. But here's the stats real quick. You cut off.
They beat Daniel Jones. I'll go through this quick. Yeah, they beat Daniel Jones. The injured Broncos beat the Texans, which are not a good team. That was right before they fired him. Then they beat. It was a close game against the Eagles, like really close. But Wentz was not playing well. They beat Browns, who did not have Chubb. They got helped out by the refs against the Titans and the Ravens. They beat the Cowboys right after I think Prescott got injured. The Bengals, they also beat the Bengals, and then they beat the Jags. And then they beat the Ravens, who essentially were a practice squad, if I'm seeing here. And then they lost to a team named the Washington Football Team.
They definitely had the possibly easiest route ever to 11-0.
Yes,
but finally, some teams showed
I think
up.
I called it essentially beforehand that the Washington was going to beat Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh has not been good against.
I think what you said is against like some type of run.
I think we were talking about this off camera, but I said that I think what was it? I said Pittsburgh is not good against I think it was outside zone runs, and specifically they. I'll pull it up maybe. But why don't you move? Why don't you go over the stats of that game while I?
The stats were basically Smith 300, Roethlisberger 300, 1 touchdown Smith, 2 touchdowns Roethlisberger, 1 interception Roethlisberger. Thomas carried for 98 yards and a touchdown, received for 98 yards and a touchdown. Washington received for 80 yards and a touchdown. Now I remember kind of watching the end of this game, how Washington really kind of just clutched up. I think Roethlisberger's interception was just a bit unlucky. I wouldn't really blame that on him. I wouldn't blame the loss on him. Just really bad timing and an unlucky deflection. But still, I think it's good that somebody finally beat the Steelers. They don't deserve to be undefeated this season. And even if they may continue having.
I found out. I said that I'm gonna call them the explicit name accidentally, but the Washington they didn't blitz. They did not blitz. They blitzed I think 3 or 4 plays the entire second half, and they didn't get beaten by the catch and run or the Ben Roethlisberger. He has not gotten sacked I think in 19 quarters. He did not get sacked in this game. They didn't even attempt to send pressure because they know that the Pittsburgh exposes teams that send pressure. They just didn't even try, and meaning they had an extra guy in coverage and they could prevent the things. Then we're gonna move on to Tuesday games. Tuesday night football.
Cowboys versus the Ravens. I think this one's pretty evident. What happened.
Andy Dalton, 300 yards. Gus the Bus Edwards, 100 yards rushing. I kind of forgot that Jackson was back while watching this game. He just didn't feel to make as big of an impact. But Dallas played like Dallas, and
the Ravens dominated as they.
The Ravens were the Dallas was awful. Yeah, but
So yeah,
Elliott had Lamar Jackson threw for 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception. He was not as important to the game. Like he wasn't as impactful as I guess we expected of him. But then again, he just recovered from COVID, and also he didn't need to be. Those
Yeah.
are our recaps of last week. I think we are going to move on to our picks for
Yes.
week.
So let's go through these really quickly because we don't want to spend too much time. First
Right.
off,
Yeah, give me a
Rams.
second. I'm actually going to pull up
Okay.
the.
You can do that real quick, but I'll go over Rams Patriots. For this one, I picked the Rams. I think both teams are good. This should be a good, entertaining game. I just think that the Rams are a more dominant team. The line definitely favors them, and I think they'll be able. Their defense will be able to.
I went for
shut
the
down
Rams as well because I feel like the Patriots. I keep kind of underestimating them, and then again, the Rams. I keep doing that too. I think that it could go either way. However, I did go with the Rams just because
Yeah, talk is
I think that it's just a bit of a safer bet.
Yeah.
Next
Then we have the
game. Yeah, why don't you
Washington.
why don't you lead for this segment
Okay.
by
Yeah. Sorry, my dog is barking.
the record, and then the team record, and then the other team record.
Texans Bears. I believe I went with the Texans on this. Sorry, my dog is really loud. But the Bears have not been good recently. They're on a really long, tough streak. The Texans have been looking better than at the beginning of the season. Texans are 4-8 now. Bears are 5-7. What are you thinking?
I went for the Bears. I think the Bears are a better team, but the Texans are, I guess, not necessarily on a hot streak, but they're playing better now. I don't necessarily think the Bears are going to win, but I did go with the Bears just because I feel like the streak has to end sometime, I guess. And the Texans, although they lost one play, I think that Chicago's going to win. But honestly, I really don't disagree with you here. It could go either way.
Yeah. So then we have the Cowboys versus the Bengals. I picked the Cowboys
3-9 at 2-9-1.
Yeah. I picked the Cowboys on this. I think it's just going to be a really atrocious game from both teams. But Dalton has actually been not horrible
He threw
passing.
380.
Oh, you cut out. But yes, he threw for almost 400 yards last game, and so I think he might be able to do something.
Just froze on my end, but yeah,
you froze for a bit.
2 touchdowns and a pick. I went for Dallas as well.
Yeah, you froze for a second, but yeah, Dalton had some pretty solid stats actually. But anyways, next is the Chiefs Dolphins. I think these are both good teams, but the Chiefs have just been so.
The Chiefs are 11-1. Dolphins are 8-4.
Dominant. I think those records both perfectly suit them. And so I think for evident reasons, I think we both went with the Chiefs. Just
we
because
went
they're
with the Chiefs.
better
However, I would look for an upset here.
Yeah.
Miami's good. Like, they're really good.
They're good.
I am going with the Chiefs pretty confidently, but I think this is the game to watch for an upset, along with 2 other games that I put later in the week. But
then Arizona, New York. At this point in the season, it's weird to say that this has to be a close one. I'm not sure who I picked on this. I think I picked Arizona, but with a very low confidence point.
I put Arizona here, but as I said, I think you might want to watch for an upset here. Giants are good, and again, I think that Arizona's going to close out.
And the Giants are on a streak, but I do think Arizona's going to try to stop their losing streak and get a win here. Then we have the Vikings versus the Bucks. Vikings are 6-6. Bucks are 7-5. I think as simple as it is, I had to go with the Bucks here. Yeah, I think they just have a better team. I think this will be a very close one. I think this might actually be like an overtime game.
This could be a good game, but then again, it also could be a runaway for the Vikings. I did go with the Bucks. I just think they're more well-rounded. The Vikings rely too much on Dalvin Cook.
The Bucks just have a bad coach, but so much talent.
It's not even a bad coach. It's that
that doesn't fit them.
No, I don't even think it's that. I think it's the fact that there are too many new players coming in, and it's just a little hard. They have such good talent. Do we have Broncos?
Panthers, both 4-8. I picked the Panthers just because I think CMC is playing again. I think he'll be able to just tear up.
The Panthers are a better team. Next, 4 o'clock games. 4 o'clock Eastern time. We're Pacific time.
No, we still have the Titans, Jags. Titans for obvious reasons.
Titans, Jags. Where are we looking?
Titans, Jags, Sunday, 10 a.m. for us, aka.
We still have a game left. All right,
Titans are 8-4, Jags are 1-11. Titans for obvious reasons. I think enough said. The afternoon games.
The Titans are a much better team. However, I don't want to count out the Jags. Just saying. I don't
Right.
think the Jags
They
are
are
going
a tough match for anybody. Any team they play, no matter how good, they've proven it's a competitive game. They're a
I don't know.
competitive
I
team.
just saying I wouldn't count out the Jags completely, but I'm not really going to give. This is not one of my 3 upsets that I'm
Right.
I went with Titans, and then we're 4 o'clock
Colts,
game
Raiders.
Eastern. Yeah.
I think this is gonna be close, but I think the Colts will definitely like close out. I think the Colts just have an overall
I actually went
better
with the
team.
Raiders. Daniel, why'd you go with the Colts?
I think they just have an overall better team than the Raiders. The Raiders have not been
Cool.
playing
Daniel,
so
you're not cool.
hot
I put
recently.
1. I put 1 on the Raiders. I think it's gonna be a close game.
I do think it's going to be close, but I think ultimately the Colts will be able to close out just because they've been playing better. The Raiders, especially if you look at recently against the Falcons, against the Jets, that should not have been those close of games.
All right. Can I take the next one?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
All right, so Jets, Seattle. I went with the Jets because Seattle's trash and they're tanking for Trevor, and the New York Jets are going to go to the Super Bowl.
As a Niners fan, can confirm
that the Jets are going to go to the Super Bowl, and Seattle's. I think they might make it to 1-15. Mm-hmm. So next game.
Bro,
yes,
statistically eliminated. What does that mean, dude?
That's intentional, by the way. That's an intentional mistake. Packers. You take that game.
Packers. Easy. I could see the Lions upsetting them here, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
9-3 at 5-7. I went with the Packers. I disagree with your upset card here.
Yeah. Saints, Eagles. I'm really confident in the Saints in this one. I know the Eagles don't have an absolutely horrible team, but the way they've been playing has been horrible. Has been horrible.
Out of the last few years, there's basically been 2 teams, I'd say, 2 or 3 teams that the Eagles have never been able to, not really been able to beat. Those teams are Seattle, New Orleans, and I think the third team was I guess those are really the 2 teams that the Eagles have not been able to beat in the last few years. I went with New Orleans, but I think it's going to be a closer game.
Then next, I have the Niners and unnamed team. They're both the same record. Washington's actually been doing semi decently recently, whereas the Niners have been.
But I went with the Niners because Washington's not consistent enough, whereas the Niners have been either consistently good or consistently bad.
Yeah, the Washington's gonna be on like a big high coming off of that huge upset, and I think the Niners.
They're gonna underestimate the Niners, and I think Nick Mullins is gonna get pulled from the game, but for playing badly, I think maybe mid-third quarter. But I do think that the Niners are gonna come back and win. That's a pretty big thing.
I do think the Niners are gonna win that. Next is the Falcons versus Falcons 2.0. I picked the Falcons over the Chargers. It's 4-8 versus.
I put 7 actually on the Chargers.
I picked the Falcons. I think the Chargers have they're not able to close out games. They're not able to get wins. They looked really bad against a team that was playing well last week. And the Falcons have been playing fairly well recently.
Yeah, they've been playing pretty good for a team that can't breathe.
Right. I think the Falcons are going to just light them up. I think Matt Ryan's gonna hit a ton of good passes. I think Ridley's gonna get a ton.
As I said, going back to the New Orleans Eagles. Eagles are 3-8-1. New Orleans is 10-2. Atlanta's 4-8. Los Angeles is 3-9. I went Los Angeles, but I'm not too confident on that. Next game, I think Pittsburgh Buffalo. Pittsburgh is 11-1. Buffalo's 9-3. I think Buffalo's gonna win. I think Buffalo's gonna win. However, I did put Pittsburgh on my thing. I think I might actually change that just because
I picked Buffalo. They've been looking really strong recently. Not just against the Niners, but against like good, solid teams. Steelers are kind of weak.
They could be 12-0 right now, but then again, they also could be 6-6.
Yeah, so, well, let's see. The Buffalo, they lost to Arizona.
They could have won against Arizona. They could have won against. I think they did beat Seattle. They could have won against Arizona. They could have won against
the Chiefs and the Titans.
Chiefs and the Titans. Yeah, they could be 12-0, but then again, they also could be 6.
They got dominated by the Titans. I think it's the one game that they couldn't have won. But if you look at it, they've also beaten some really good teams. They beat the Jets. They beat the Dolphins. They beat the Rams. They beat the Raiders. They beat the Patriots, who aren't great, but given still a solid opponent. They beat the Seahawks. they've beaten some really, really solid teams, and I think they're going somewhere in the playoffs. I think they're gonna beat Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and then
Um,
I went for in Browns, Baltimore. Baltimore 7-5. Browns are 9-3. I went Baltimore. Pretty confident in that actually.
I respect your decision, but I went with the Browns. I think they're on a hot streak. They want like, oh, you're frozen, but I think they're on a hot streak. They want revenge against the Ravens for like all of those years of being dominated. Um, and so
You just
the
froze.
Ravens are gonna.
You just froze up for me, but yeah.
Yeah, you froze for me. But I think the Browns are going to go in and they've been playing strong. Baltimore's been playing all right, but not strong um as they were as the playoff contender last year. I
Yeah, they
think the
also
Browns
just
are
got
going to
Lamar
win.
Jackson back. He was definitely not at full health when he played. As he said, it really hurt him.
Hmm.
But I think Baltimore's going to win.
And the line for this one is actually even.
Oh, yeah, but
But I think that's pretty much all of the games for this week. So do we want to move into
yeah, I
power
wanted to go
rankings?
over some quick news. Give
Oh,
me a second.
yes.
I'm gonna
Yes.
yeah. I'll take this segment for news, and then give me a second. My computer is a
I'm gonna go
little
on mute. You can just go over all the news you want because I
yeah
don't really have to
news, and then
say.
my opinions and just general other things. So first off, close to me. Actually, let me move the camera a bit. There we go. So first off, Carson Wentz got benched, and Jalen Hurts is going to start the next game. I think it needs to happen. And as I said, I'm not sure Jalen Hurts really does anything that much better than Carson Wentz. They're both scrambling. They're both like have a decent throwing quarterbacks. They can be really accurate when they need to be. Like not when they need to be. They can be really accurate, but then again, they also have some issues with decision making. But I think it's the right call. Carson Wentz has been awful, and he really needs a spark, and this team needs a spark. So I think it's a good thing. Uh, McCaffrey is not really going to play in the Broncos game, according to Matt Rule. Yeah, Matt Rule expects McCaffrey to miss the game. Uh, let's see. What? Yeah. Yeah,
The
sorry.
Bears should fire Matt Nagy.
Lynch said he would return to play for Super Bowl contender. Sorry, a lot of the news. Yeah, Travis Kelce is 99 overall in Madden now. All right, and AJ Boye's got just a 6-game ban for PEDs. Lamar Jackson said that COVID made him feel like he didn't play for a whole season. Then we have, let's see. Yeah, we had, I think it was Coastal Carolina, well, I guess another Coastal Carolina, against BYU. Coastal Carolina absolutely obliterated BYU's quarterback. None of what they did was illegal, but they just literally just. So I think it was an interception, I think, and run the ball back, and this defenseman, he just absolutely he had 3 pancakes on the quarterback in one play, absolutely destroying him. Kind of funny, actually. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, this is not a good point.
I think that's pretty much all of the
Yeah,
major
there's a
news.
bit
We
more
don't need to go
news
over.
actually that I just was a bit farther
I think
back.
that's all of the major news we need to go over. So let's move
Right.
into some power rankings.
Actually, yeah. Give me a quick second.
I think if there's nothing else major.
Yeah. Unless there's anything major, then just talk about.
So let's move into our week 14 power
Yeah,
rankings.
as I said, yeah, there was some college stuff. If you want to go over any college things quick while I get the
Yeah,
power rankings up.
not right now. Is there?
All right,
Didn't they? Well, actually, you get started on the power rankings, and let me check on that because I know a little more about the college stuff. So
Yeah, all right,
you get into
I'm
your
gonna go
first
over my
5.
top 16. Daniel, just like interrupt me and tell me something that you really disagree with. I still have the Chiefs number 1. I think they're the best team in the league by quite a bit. Packers, I have number 2, increased by a spot. They're a good team. Could struggle in the playoffs. I think they're still better than the teams below them. New Orleans, I moved up from 7 to number 3 because I knew they're an absolutely great team. I just didn't know that Taysom Hill could really play well. They didn't do as good as they needed to against. Well, they didn't. Taysom Hill didn't play that well against the Broncos being quarterback, and I think now they're being a lot more consistent. I just need to see a bit more out of that. Buffalo Bills at number 4. They were 6 last week. They've been playing good. Then Titans, I moved them down only one spot from 4 to 5, even after that loss, that absolutely destroying loss to the Browns, just because I think they're still top 5 team in the league. They're really good. All teams have down games. And then Miami, I had number 6. I moved them up from 12. I needed to see a bit more consistency out of them, and I did get to see that now. They're going to lose. I think they're going to lose to the Chiefs this week. However, I still think they're a better team than the Steelers, who are right below them, moved down from 2 to 7. I actually think the Steelers even lower than this. And even before they lost, I actually wanted to have them around 7 or 8, but Daniel convinced me not to because it just didn't. It didn't. He said they were a really good team, and I guess I gave in. But the Steelers, I think they're really not a good team compared to what their record is. I think they're actually not the top, like barely top 10, number 10. But I have them at 7 here. I had Miami Dolphins as the biggest, like.
It looks like you froze again for
All
a
right, I
second.
just froze. What was the last
Yeah.
thing you heard? Last thing you heard from me?
I don't even know, but just continue with what you're saying about whichever one.
Yeah, I said Titans. I said Miami Dolphins better than Steelers. I actually wanted to have Steelers like really low, like 7 or 8 last week. Daniel convinced me not to. I have them at 7 this week, although I think they're maybe number 10. Browns, I had them at 8, moving up from 11. I said Miami was like my big riser. Yeah, Browns, pretty good team, showing a bit more consistency, minus point differential, but they're able to beat good teams. Seattle, I have them at number 9. They were number 5 last week. I still think they're a really good team. I just had to move them down because losing to the Giants, Giants played good on defense, like really good on defense against a great Seattle offense, and good on offense against awful Seattle. Actually, not that good on offense, but Seattle did not show up. I moved them down to 9. Indianapolis, I had them at number 10. I moved them down from 9. It was too close against the Texans, and I just think that I had to move some teams up, and I think that Miami and Cleveland are going to move up a bit. That's my top 10, Daniel. Why don't you take your top 10, and I'll interrupt you if I think I have something that I really disagree with.
All right, so here's my top 10. Is number 1 obviously is the Chiefs. I think they're with the Steelers loss, they definitely move up and take over that number 1 spot.
Why did you have them at number 1 last week? Why do you think that Steelers were better than Kansas City?
I thought that the Steelers just having that undefeated record, being able to win those games, even if they weren't pretty wins, just being able to win them, whereas Kansas City lost to Oakland, the Steelers just deserved the spot more. Even if they weren't easy games, or they were easy teams, not necessarily easy games per se, but the Steelers just deserved it more for being able to win all of those games and remain undefeated, even against
yeah, all right, I get you there, but I just don't think Steelers are as good as a team as people are making them out to be. My computer's running low, so let me speed up the rest of your top 10.
Yeah, so then the Saints at number 2, I think, again, pretty self-evident why. The Packers at number 3, I definitely
I don't disagree with the Saints, Packers, Chiefs top 3.
Yep. The Bills at number 4, I think they've played really, really well, especially against good teams. They've had a tough schedule, and they definitely are they're just the top 5 team.
Back a bit.
Then at number 5, the Steelers. I don't think they should drop out of the top 5. I think one bad loss against a team that's on a roll isn't going to knock them out.
All right.
5 spots.
Yeah, as I said, I already explained why I don't agree with that. I think number 6.
But yeah, number 6, I put the Seahawks. Wait, is that right?
Yeah, you put Seattle.
They should not be that high on my list. I don't know why I have them there. I'm actually gonna swap that. I think I meant to switch those, but I forgot to.
Yeah.
Number 6. I have the. I'll just move them down a bit.
You want Seattle at number 7?
No, I'll have the Browns at number 6.
You had Seattle number 7. You had Seattle 7 last week.
Move Seattle down to number 10, and then every one of them up one more. But I think the Cleveland Browns have been playing really well, surprisingly well. I think they can definitely make a playoff run. It looks like you're frozen, but I'll keep talking. They could definitely make a playoff run. They've shown that they can show up against good teams. After that, in number 7 is Dolphins.
Actually, Daniel, give me a second. You froze for me for a second. Just
okay. So I definitely think the Browns and Dolphins, same with the Colts pretty much as well. is that they've all proven that they can play really, really well. Then moving down is the Rams at number 9. Um, they've shown that they can beat good teams, even when I thought the odds were against them. They've shown that they are a really good team, really solid defense and a well-rounded offense as well. Division leaders, and I think they're definitely at least one spot above Seattle, who I have at number 10 now.
All right.
That was a tough loss for them. They should have won that game. There's really no excuses. But yeah, it's pretty much all for Seattle for my top 10. Now, if you want, while you're still fixing that, I can go down to 16. Is I have the Titans at 11. They took the biggest drop from the number 4 spot all the way to 11. They did not. They did not look as good as they should have. There have been a few games this season where they really are just unable
All right, yeah,
to.
I think I fixed your thing right there.
Okay, thank you. But the Titans they've had a few games where they haven't been able to show up, and I don't think that they're a top 10 team.
I personally disagree with you, like harshly. I had them at number 5. I think they're an absolutely great team, great coaching, great quarterback, great running back, good defense. They're really well rounded. I think they're going to make a deep playoff run again.
I agree with that, but I think that a lot of games they're just not able to win. They should be able to win. They should be able to show up and play really
however,
well.
I do think I think they're gonna make it to the AFC Championship game again. I had at 11.
I think they're definitely going to make it past the first round.
I had the Rams at 11.
I'm hesitant on saying they'll go to the AFC Championship, especially thinking about it this way.
Yeah, I had the Rams at 11.
They're probably going to have to face. They're going to have to face the Dolphins, the Browns, the Steelers, the Bills, or the Chiefs, or the Colts, or the Ravens.
But Daniel,
it's not going to be an easy.
I put Rams at 11 because I think that they're not going to do very well. Like, they're not a good team, because not as good of a team as they're not a top 10 team, because they can get exposed too easily when a team finds the right formula.
Do you think they're better than? So you think they're worse than the Seahawks?
Yeah, significantly. I think the Seahawks can win any game, but also have the potential to lose. Whereas the Rams, if the team finds the right formula, like the Cardinals did, that I think the Rams are going to lose. I don't think they're really.
I disagree with that, but I see
where they're too heavily reliant on the
scheme.
Yeah. Then I got to move quick. My battery's almost dead.
So,
but yeah, I had Buccaneers 12, Patriots 13. Big rise for the Patriots. They need to see more consistency, and I saw that, so I raised them up. Vegas at 14, minus point differential, but I think they're better than the Cardinals, who are my biggest faller from number 8 down to 15 after seeing them not play well. And then I have the Ravens at 16. I actually might switch Ravens and Cardinals, but yeah, I think the Ravens are a good team. I need some more consistency out of them. It doesn't matter. That's my top 16. Why don't you go to your top 16?
Okay, so for that, I put at 12 the Raiders. They definitely moved down a few spots, but I do still think that they can beat any of the teams that are below them.
Yep.
And that's after that is the Cardinals, who also moved down like 5 spots on mine, so a big drop there. But they're also still a solid team. They're just not a real playoff contender.
Yeah, why don't you lower your mic volume a bit? I'm here coming a bit loud here.
Yeah, your mic volume is really loud as well, but let me.
Yeah, I have it by my mouth, but.
Mine's already automatically adjusted, so it should be.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah,
but yeah,
right.
Then after that, I have the Buccaneers. I still.
14. All right.
They shouldn't be doing as. They should not be doing this bad with all the talent and everything that they have. After that, the Ravens, who I don't think are as good as last year, but still that high up, definitely better. Then the Vikings, who I think the only reason the Vikings are here is because they're better than all the teams below them. I don't think they're a great team, but they can definitely go somewhere, maybe make the playoffs. They have stuff to work with.
But I think we're going to skim through the next 16. I'm going to name mine, and then you're going to name yours. I had Vikings at 17. Fall down a spot. Panthers at 18, fall down a spot. Bears 19, Giants 20, move up 2 spots. Falcons 21, move down. Niners stay at 22 for me. Lions at 23, move down 4 spots. Washington at 24, they only moved up 1 spot. Broncos I had at 25. moved down a spot. The Eagles at 26, they actually moved them up a spot because I think the other teams did not fell more. And then I had the Chargers at 27, they fell 6 spots. Houston Texans at 28, they fell 3 spots. I think they're actually a better team that I put them here, even being close with the Colts. I just think that they're not as good as the team as the Chargers, the Eagles, the Broncos, Washington. And then I had Dallas at 29. They moved them up a spot because Cincinnati's gotten worse and Dallas has gotten better. And then Bengals, as I said, 30, Jacksonville 31, and then the Trevor Lawrence show is 32.
All right, and really quick, I'll go through mine. Is that I have the Patriots at 17. I don't think they can beat all the teams above them. I don't think they'll go anywhere in the playoffs, but they've been doing better, and so they're kind of moving up slowly. Then I have the Giants at 18. I think they can do something in the playoffs. Now that might just be me, but I think they've shown that they can beat teams. They might not be good, but they can definitely beat teams and win games.
Yeah.
Then
you had
the
a big riser here at number.
yeah, this is my biggest one of the week. Was the Washington football team moves up 8 spots for me. That's because I think now they're 5-7. They aren't like a super low record. They're definitely competing for a playoff spot, and they've proven that they can pull off upsets. I think Alex Smith is comeback player of the year, in my opinion. He's proven that he's back. He's
You
able
just
to play.
froze for me.
Yeah, you froze for me too, but it's all good.
I'm gonna keep freezing. My internet connection keeps saying how shitty it is.
Then after that, the Carolina Panthers, only because I think that they're better than the teams below them. They don't deserve that. Like they are not a good team, but they're just better than the teams below them. I feel bad for probably one of my favorite players in the league, McCaffrey, just because he's stuck with a team that can't really do anything, can't go anywhere. Then the Texans, I don't think they're that low. I think they have a great quarterback, a lot of talent, really, really good, well-rounded. Well, not well-rounded, really, really good players. A few of them, but they aren't playing well. I'm glad that they finally fired their coach this season, head coach, but still, they need to do better if they want to get back to the playoff status that they have been past few years. Then after that, the Niners, who took a drop of 4 for me.
Yeah, you have them at the exact same spot that I actually have them at.
Yeah, they're obviously very injured, not playing well at all. Definitely just kind of slowly dropping, and hopefully they'll get back to it next season and even get a good high draft pick to take with them. Then we have the Lions, who, self-explanatory, they moved up a few spots just because they had a big win, but I still don't think they're in any way playoff contenders. Then we have the Chargers, who dropped a few. Bad loss. They really got beaten. They're not going anywhere for a few more years. Atlanta, not going anywhere. They have a tough division. The Bears, they dropped a lot. They dropped 7 spots, one of the highest droppers, tied with Tennessee on my list. But I just don't think that they're good. They have a bad coach. They have some talent, but they're not a playoff contender at all, even though their record may suggest otherwise. And they're very low on this list, I'm aware, for their record especially. But they're just not as good as any of the teams above them. Then the Eagles, self-explanatory, Broncos, Cowboys, Bengals, Jaguars, and the New York dumpster fire. So yeah, those last
battery's about to die, I think. So we better get this closing over with.
Okay, so that's pretty much gonna be it for this episode of the Salty Sports Podcast. We hope you all enjoyed. If you're on YouTube, remember you can always leave a comment down below if you agree, disagree, anything.
Please do. We need some suggestions. We're gonna be doing some mock drafts, not power rankings, like our draft order, I guess. Get some mock drafts, some
player rankings
for the upcoming draft. We're gonna be doing some like stat stuff, like some, I guess, trivia games in the future, some more fun stuff. Yeah, but for the time being, we're trying to get this going, getting some viewers in.
We hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to, as always, like, subscribe, or follow this on YouTube. Our socials are always down below, whether you're listening to this on Anchor,
we
YouTube,
have the,
Spotify.
Instagram for saltysports.podcast and anchor.fm/saltysports.
Yeah, so that's gonna be it. This was
Yep.
our
Well,
second episode,
thank you for
and we'll
second
see you guys
episode of
next
Salty
time.
Sports.